First of all, I'd like to apologize for the lateness of this video, but if you'd like to see this detailed tutorial on how I got this beautiful closure unit, continue watching. So I started with this dome cap, regular, a spandex one, just a regular size one. You'll need scissors and a comb, some thread. I don't know what type of thread it is, to be honest. Some foam, any type of foam will do. And a standard 4x4 closure for this one. It comes pre-plucked, your standard 4x4 closure, and I got 3 bundles. I'll list the links below. It's from my hair company. My deep wave hair is my favorite hair out of my whole company. So now you're just going to place the closure first and pin it down with T-pins. This is just so you don't start sewing and then the closure is crooked or anything like that. It's straight back and forth. You pin down all 4 corners of the closure, making sure I don't put it right on the line of the wig cap. I put it just a little bit over just in case it gets pulled back or anything, because you don't want it to be too far up and you don't want it to be too far back. So then I just pin down the rest of the 4, and you want to make sure that this side is flat, because if it has any lumps or bumps in it, it's going to cause a bump in your closure in your wig, and it won't be that flat closure wig that everybody talks about nowadays. So now that I have all 4 sides pinned down, I just take my mousse and mousse it up, and then just put it like in a little bantu knot and wrap it so all the hair is out the way. Now I take my needle that has sort of a big hole because I'm blind and I can't see, and I take about like 3, let me see if I do 3 arm lengths of thread, and then I put it through a little hole, and you want to make it like double, like so it's not just one like you sewing regularly. It's 2 strings that you see right here, and then you're going to tie a knot at the end of the 2. Tie the knot. I do about maybe 2 or 3 times, and then I cut the ends off. Now it is time to start sewing down the closure. I remove this pin, and then I simply just stick the needle through the closure and then through the first layer of mesh. I do not go all the way through the elastic on the other side of the mesh, just to keep it simple. Then I open up the thread to pull the needle through, and I bring it all the way to the end, and then I pull it to make sure it's even on both sides. Now I'm going to show you my sewing technique. I go up through the first layer, and then I wrap the thread around the needle, basically like pulling it through, and then I pull down, and then I'm going to show you again. I go up through the mesh, up through the closure, and put the thread around the needle. And I hope this makes sense, and I hope you can see, because it took me a while to get this technique done, because I learned it from another YouTuber, but it's my favorite type way to do it. And then you just repeat the same thing, just going up around it, and then just once again just going through it. Another way that I'm doing it is I put the thread over the needle, and then I go underneath the thread in the closure, if that makes sense. It's just another way to do it if you like that way. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It's all about preference on how you like to do it. Some stitches are tighter than others depending on which stitch you use, but these are my main 2 stitches that I use for my wigs. It never causes any lumps or bumps or any type of lifting. I never had a problem saying that my tracks or the closure came loose in one of my wigs, and I hope that you never ever have that problem either. Once again, this is the other method. I switch up from time to time because the other one is like a double knotting type thing, and this one is just like the simple thread go around type thing. And I just want to show you this right here. This is a knot that you can get. It happens all the time. It's very common. My main advice is when you get a knot, do not pull the ends of the thread. Stop and take your time and try to unravel it, because if you don't, you're just going to create a bigger knot. Sometimes it creates a too big of a knot and you have to start all the way over. Sometimes you can resolve it like I did, but it's very common. You're not doing anything wrong. You just have to watch the ends of your threads to make sure they're not tangling together and that it creates a bigger knot. Side of the closure. As you can see, it is very flat, and I'm just doing my same threading technique, putting it through the mesh and then taking the thread around the needle and then going all the way around. When I get towards the end of it, I'm going to double knot like maybe 2-3 times so that the closure is not lifting on the ends. Of the closure, I'm just taking it through a couple times, making sure that it is threaded all the way through. And I went underneath the cap to tie it a few times. I went through the cap and through the closure to tie and lift up at the bottom, and I tied about 3-4 times to make sure it's a knot. And now you have a very flat closure. Now the hard part is out the way. The closure is done and the closure is flat. It's time to unravel your longest bundle and start sewing it in. I double my first bundle, so at the back it's thick, it's not looking thin, and I just put T-pins in to mark where I'm going to start on that row and end on that row, so it just helps me plan it out. Okay, so now I'm just taking the needle and putting it through both of the tracks, and then I am going to put it through the cap, and then I'm going to go through the thread. I'm going to open it up, go through it, and then pull it, so that's like the first stitch. And so now I just continue to thread going up. I still go through the tracks on the second one to make sure that the ends are secure. You want to always make sure both of your ends on both sides are always secure, no matter what. And then I think on the third one, I'm going to go underneath the tracks and through the cap. Yeah, I just did. So you're going to go underneath the tracks and then put the thread around the needle and just pull. And then you continue to do that throughout both sides. And I'm going to come back and explain how to knot the ends and do the fold over method. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to do the fold over method. Me personally, I really like to cut my wefts, but for this particular one, they wanted the fold over method. So you're going to take it and literally fold it over to the next side, and don't cut the thread. And I still pin it so I get to measure out where my next line of hair is going to go. So I take my thread and needle and I go underneath the little circle thing. I can't really explain it, I'm having a hard time talking. So you're going to go underneath it, and then you're going to go into the cap, and then I wrap it around like 2-3 times, and that creates like the crease fold part, and then you just pull it really tight to make sure that it's secure. Sometimes you can do about 2-3 times if it doesn't work on the first try. It took me a while to make my own method for this part, because when I watched other people do it, it was kind of confusing. So just go in, and I'm doing it again because the first one probably did not correctly. So I'm just doing it again to make sure it's in there, and then I go underneath the track again to make sure that that end is secure, because once again, you do not want any loose ends, and you want to try to make this as flat as possible. And then you tighten up your track, you pull it over to make sure that it's tight so you know where you're going, and then you just continue with the same stitching process, going underneath the thread and through the cap to make sure that it is secure, and you just keep stitching the same way. Okay, now it's time to sew down to where the elastic part is, where this part is. So you do not go through the mesh, the elastic, and then the other side of the mesh. You only go through the top layer of the mesh or spandex, because when you go through the elastic, it messes with the elastic, and it messes with how much the cap stretches. So you just don't want to touch it at all going through it. Just go through that top layer and make sure you don't go through the elastic. If you end up doing it, it's okay. It shouldn't hurt it that much, but it's just a small warning that it might tighten up the way how big your cap is, and it just might mess up the wig a little bit. It might not fit how you want it to fit. So basically, when you come to the end, you basically do the same fold over method, but you have to be more careful with it because you have to make sure that it's flat, because it is the top of the wig. You see all these bumps and you see everything. You see every mistake that is made when you come to the top of the wig. So I double knot the ends just to make sure, and then I just double knot everything that I do when it comes to the top part, just so nothing slips, nothing falls. It's no bumps, it's no humps, no lumps, anything. And I swear, I promise, this is making sure, double knotting, taking your time, always ensures that your top will always end up looking flawless. Okay, so now this is the last track. You want to make sure that you do not sew on top of the closure. And this is why. You don't sew on top of the closure just because, just say you get a hole in your closure or you get a bald spot even. You want to be able to replace your closure. You want to be able to cut around the closure. It doesn't have to be a lot of space, but it needs to be just enough so you can get some scissors through there and make sure you can replace the closure. And now this is just the last thing. I double knot at the ends. I have that much left over and I'm just making sure that it's all secure. Okay, so after you cut out the cap, now it looks like scalp and it's time to start the styling process. Since this is just deep wave hair, all you pretty much need is water. I know the bottle says leave-in conditioner, but I promise you it's just hot water to bring the curls back from being in that little knot. And now it's time to pluck the closure. You have to take a lot of time to pluck your closure. The knots are going to be in lines. So I just take one line at a time of knots and just take out that row of knots. And I just keep going until I think it's thick enough. I take about maybe 2 or 3, depending on how thick the person wants the part, because some people want theirs thick, some people want theirs thin. This person just wanted a regular part, and I just really took my time to make sure this part was straight and precise. Now that I have plucked the part, I'm just going into the closure and plucking it a little bit, just going sporadically in it to take out some of the hair so it lays down a little bit flatter. Now I'm going to take my edge booster wax stick and just put it on the top of the closure so I can hot comb it down so it has that straight, sleek look. I'm not hot combing it too much. Well, right now I didn't hot comb it yet. I'm just letting it sit. But when I hot comb it, it gets that good, sleek look. And now I'm just taking the curls. I am wetting them down. And then I'm going to take my mousse. I think I use tropical foam. I think that's what it's called. But whatever it is, I'm putting it in the description below. But right now, I'm just wetting up the entire wig because I want to get it soaking wet. And then once you put the mousse on top of the soaking wet curls, it creates like a cast, but you have these beautiful defined curls. Okay, so it was Tropical Roots foam, and now I'm just taking a lot of it and putting it everywhere. Like, literally, so much foam is used on this deep wave wig, but I guarantee you that it creates the most beautiful curls. And then I just take a towel and just scrunch it so some of the water can come out of it, and then when it air dries, it is so pretty. Now that the curls are dry, I'm just taking my hands and raking through the curls to break them apart, because with the foam they do get kind of hard, but once you rake it through to break the cast, the curls become back soft again and you are left with some beautiful defined curls. Now I'm taking my hot comb. It's an Annie's hot comb. It's very old. It's time for me to get a new one. And I'm just taking the top. The wax is still on there, so I'm just pressing it out a little bit. I'm not pressing it out too much because I don't want it to be super straight and then curly. It's basically for pictures, so everything looks sleek and down. And then that's it pretty much. And then I just switch the heads over so I can take pictures. And that's it for the tutorial mostly. And this completes the wig tutorial. I hope that you all enjoyed this tutorial and you learned from it. This hair is from my company, Royal Extensions. And once again, just thank you for clicking on this video. Make sure you like and subscribe. Follow me on my social media. And if you want to get you a wig made by me, you can just find me on my social media and just DM me. Once again, thank you, and y'all have a blessed day.